You have entered the ThinkBox podcast with Maddie and Mason, where knowledge is power.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into natural approaches for managing psoriasis.
Okay.
And we are looking at a YouTube video by Dr. Josh Axe.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Axe.
He's a doctor of natural medicine, and actually this is kind of a personal topic for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his father-in-law actually dealt with psoriasis for years.
I see.
So if you're interested in kind of the interplay between diet supplements and even like DIY skincare and how that can play a role in managing psoriasis, you're in the right place.
Okay. Sounds good.
So yeah, this should be interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really stood out to me in this video was how much Dr. Axe emphasizes, getting to the root of the issue.
Yeah.
Not just slapping a Band-Aid on symptoms. He's really, he believes that psoriasis might be a sign of something deeper going on in the body.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right, like an internal imbalance. And he spends a good chunk of the video talking about the gut.
Okay.
Specifically, this idea of a leaky gut.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that before.
Have you heard about leaky gut?
Yeah, I have.
So for those who are unfamiliar, basically the idea is that the lining of your intestines becomes more permeable than it should be.
Right.
And so things that should stay in your gut end up leaking out.
Yeah, and that can trigger inflammation.
Exactly.
Throughout the whole body.
Yes.
Which could be a major player in psoriasis flare-ups.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect starting in your gut and showing up on your skin.
Totally.
So that's something to think about, right? Like, could gut health be connected to your psoriasis?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's worth pondering.
Yeah.
But now Dr. Axe isn't all doom and gloom here.
Okay.
He's actually a huge advocate for food as medicine.
I like that.
And he's got some interesting ideas about what we can add to our plates to kind of combat this.
I'm interested to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so he starts with this powerhouse category of probiotic-rich foods,
Okay.
which are things that introduce good bacteria into your gut.
Makes sense.
So his favorite, and I'm curious if you've tried this, is goat's milk yogurt or kefir.
I've had kefir before.
Have you? What'd you think?
It's kind of tangy, but I like it.
Yeah, a little tangy.
Yeah.
You can usually find those at health food stores or farmers markets if you're looking to try them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it makes sense, right? Because adding in these good bacteria can help to rebalance your gut.
Right.
And reduce that system-wide inflammation that we were just talking about.
I see.
Now, he doesn't stop there.
Okay.
He's also big on fiber, which acts as food for the good bacteria that are already living in your gut.
Okay.
So he recommends things like blueberry.
Blueberries are delicious.
I love blueberries.
Me too.
Cruciferous veggies like cauliflower.
Oh, yeah?
Leafy greens like spinach and seeds like flax and chia.
But those are all good things.
Yeah, so we're talking about creating like a thriving ecosystem in your gut.
Right.
Almost like a garden, right? And just like a gardening variety is key.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, he also highlights omega-3 fatty acids,
Okay.
which are known for their anti-inflammatory properties. So things like fatty fish, wild-caught salmon,
I love salmon.
mackerel sardines,
Yeah.
even glass-fed beef.
Okay.
So adding in those inflammation-fighting foods.
Right.
And he also emphasizes the importance of turmeric and dandelion.
Interesting.
I use turmeric all the time in my cooking.
Yeah, turmeric is great.
He actually calls them anti-inflammatory herbs, which I thought was interesting.
That's a good way to put it.
And then this one I thought was kind of surprising.
Okay.
Bone broth.
Bone broth.
Especially chicken bone broth.
Okay.
Now, what's the connection to psoriasis there?
I'm curious too.
Well, he believes it's fantastic for healing the gut lining
Okay.
and promoting skin health because of its high collagen content.
I see.
So lots to add in.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
But what about the flip side? Are there foods that Dr. Axe recommends avoiding?
That's a good question. I'm curious about that too.
So he suggests steering clear of processed meats,
Okay.
conventional pork and beef in particular.
Ma-
He points to potential liver toxicity as a concern there.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be aware of.
So that makes sense if we're thinking about overall inflammation and the body's detoxification processes.
Exact.
He also calls out hydrogenated oils and sugar.
Right. The usual suspect.
Those are no surprise.
Yeah.
But this one I thought was interesting. He also suggests reducing whole grains, especially wheat products, because they can be inflammatory for some people.
Huh. Interesting.
So it really makes you think about how certain foods might be impacting your body, even if they're generally considered healthy.
Yeah, it challenges conventional wisdom a little bit.
It does.
Like it.
Now, in addition to diet problem, Dr. Axe also recommends some targeted supplements.
Okay.
But before we jump into those, I have to emphasize, as he does in the video, talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement.
Always good advice.
Right. Always a good idea.
Yeah.
So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's unpack some of these supplements.
Sounds good.
First up, probiotic supplements.
Probiotics. Okay.
He's a big believer in choosing high-quality options.
Yeah, that's important.
So we're talking about supplementing the good bacteria we're already getting from those yogurt and kefir recommendations.
Right, giving your gut an extra boost.
Exactly.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then next on the list, we have hydrochloric acid, or HCl, with pepsin.
HCl. Great.
Now, I have to admit, this one's a little less familiar to me.
Yeah. What is that?
It plays a crucial role in protein digestion.
Okay.
He suggests taking it only with protein
Okay.
and starting with a low dose and adjusting as needed.
Makes sense.
So if we're not digesting protein properly, could that be contributing to the gut issues we discussed earlier?
I think so, yeah. Undigested protein can lead to inflammation in the gut.
Right. So HCl with pepsin could be a helpful tool for some people.
I see.
Now, we already touched on omega-3s, and it's no surprise he recommends fish oil supplements as well.
Okay.
He specifically suggests 1,000 milligrams daily of a high-quality fish oil, focusing on those EPA and DHA omega-3s for their potent anti-inflammatory benefits.
Makes sense.
What else is on the supplement list?
I'm listening.
He recommends milk thistle, which is known for its liver detoxifying properties.
Milk thistle. Okay.
Now, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the importance of the liver in processing toxins and reducing overall inflammation.
Right. It's all connected.
And he mentioned dandelion earlier for liver support as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's all connected.
Uh-huh.
He also suggests vitamin D supplementation,
Okay.
specifically vitamin D3 at a dose of 4,000 to 5,000 IU daily.
Vitamin D, interesting.
We all know vitamin D is important for bone health, but how does it relate to psoriasis?
I'm not sure I know that connection.
Well, vitamin D actually plays a role in regulating cell growth and immune function,
Oh, okay.
both of which are involved in psoriasis.
Okay.
So a deficiency in vitamin D could disrupt those processes, potentially contributing to the development or worsening of psoriasis.
That makes sense.
So supplementing with vitamin D could be beneficial.
Got it.
And lastly, he mentions digestive enzymes as a potential additional support.
Digestive enzymes.
Yeah, so it's all about optimizing digestion and absorption.
Right. Breaking down those foods properly.
Exactly. Now, in addition to diet and supplements, Dr. Axe also offers a DIY skin cream recipe.
A DIY skin cream.
Have you ever made your own skincare products?
I haven't, but I'm intrigued.
He combines shea butter, you can find that online easily,
Okay.
with coconut oil, which is super moisturizing,
Yeah.
and then the magic ingredient,
What is it?
essential oils.
Essential oils. Okay.
He's a big fan of geranium oil, but he also mentions tea tree oil,
Tea tree oil. Yeah.
chamomile,
I love chamomile.
and lavender as being effective for psoriasis and other skin conditions like eczema and dermatitis.
Okay.
I love lavender. It's so calming.
Yeah. It smells great.
But what about the science behind essential oils? Like, how do they actually work?
Well, they contain potent plant compounds
Okay.
that can have various effects on the body. For example, many of these oils have soothing and potentially anti-inflammatory properties,
I see.
which could help calm irritated skin and reduce redness and itching.
So it's like a natural approach to targeting those uncomfortable psoriasis symptoms.
Exactly.
This DIY skin cream sounds like something I might actually try.
Yeah, me too.
Now, he also briefly mentions sun exposure.
Sun exposure. Okay.
He recommends getting some sunshine, which links back to that vitamin D recommendation.
Right, of course.
But of course, it's essential to be mindful of sun safety.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Diet supplements, even DIY skincare.
It's a pretty comprehensive approach.
It's a lot, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it is.
So I know we're just scratching the surface here, but
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways you think our listeners should be thinking about as we move on to the next part of our deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is the power of a holistic approach.
Okay.
You know, looking at the big picture, diet, gut health, lifestyle, even stress. We'll be diving deeper into those connections in the next part.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So before the break, we were discussing Dr. Axe's recommendations for managing psoriasis naturally, and something that really stood out to me was just how much he emphasizes the connection between seemingly simple things,
Yeah.
like what we eat,
Right.
and something as complex as psoriasis.
Yeah, it's like, how could those two things be related?
Right, and it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And he really drives home this point that food can be medicine.
Food is medicine. I like that.
Yeah. And he's got a pretty compelling story that he tells in the video to illustrate this point.
Oh, really?
He talks about his own father-in-law who had been on 4 different medications for psoriasis
Wow.
for over 2 decades.
That's a long time.
20 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And he was told his psoriasis would never be cured.
Oh, wow.
But then he tried Dr. Axe's recommendations.
Yeah.
And in a month, just 30 days, he saw a 98% improvement in his psoriasis.
That's incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Now, of course, everyone's different. Right.
And we can't take anecdotal evidence as scientific fact,
Of course.
but it's definitely inspiring.
It is,
It
yeah.
highlights the potential for positive change.
Yeah, and it gives you hope
Exactly.
that maybe there are other ways to approach this.
Right. And, it's important to remember that these natural approaches may take time to show results.
Right.
And it's always crucial to consult with your own doctor
Of course.
before making any major changes to your healthcare routine.
Always a good idea.
Right. Always talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
So speaking of personalized care, let's dive back into some of Dr. Axe's specific dietary recommendations.
That's it.
He seems particularly passionate about bone broth.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the first part.
He did, and especially chicken bone broth. And he really highlights its rich collagen content, which could help repair the gut lining and support skin health.
So collagen isn't just for, like, wrinkles and stuff.
Right. It's having a moment right now.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. You see it in all the beauty products, but it sounds like it plays a much bigger role in overall health than I realized.
Yeah, absolutely. Collagen is a key protein that provides structure and support to our tissues,
Okay.
including skin bones, tendons, even the gut lining.
Oh, wow.
And as we age, our natural collagen production decreases.
So adding bone broth to our diet could help replenish those collagen stores.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a healthy gut lining is essential for proper digestion, nutrient absorption, and even immune function.
Oh, wow.
So incorporating bone broth could have ripple effects beyond just the skin.
It's all connected.
It is.
Now, it's not just about adding foods, right?
Right.
Dr. Axe also talks about avoiding certain foods that could be contributing to inflammation.
Okay, the bad guys.
Yeah, so he specifically calls out processed meats, particularly conventional pork and beef.
Okay.
He also advises against hydrogenated oils and sugar.
Right. No surprise there.
Those are well known for their inflammatory effects.
Yeah.
And this one might surprise you. He even suggests limiting whole grains, particularly wheat products, as they can be inflammatory for some people.
Huh. That's interesting.
So he's basically saying we need to pay attention to how these foods are impacting our individual bodies.
It's not one size fits all.
No.
It's about personalization.
Exactly.
I like that.
Now, we talked earlier about some targeted supplements, but there was one I wanted to circle back to because I think it's particularly interesting in the context of psoriasis.
Okay, which one?
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
He recommends 4,000 to 5,000 IU daily of vitamin D3.
Right.
We know it's important for bone health, but what's the connection to psoriasis?
That's what I was wondering.
Well, vitamin D actually plays a role in regulating cell growth and immune function,
Okay.
both of which are involved in psoriasis.
Right.
So a deficiency in vitamin D could disrupt these processes,
I see.
potentially contributing to the development or worsening of psoriasis.
That makes sense.
And studies have shown that individuals with psoriasis often have lower levels of vitamin D than those without the condition. So supplementing with vitamin D could be beneficial.
Okay.
And in addition to supplements, he suggests getting some sunshine.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Safely, of course.
Always.
Which is a great way to naturally boost those vitamin D levels.
Makes sense.
Okay, now we've talked about diet supplements, even a DIY skin cream recipe. But I want to make sure we don't overlook another key element that Dr. Axe mentions.
Okay, what's that?
Stress management.
Oh, stress.
The mind-body connection is so crucial.
It is.
Stress can definitely trigger or worsen psoriasis flare-ups.
Absolutely.
He doesn't go into specific techniques for stress reduction in this video,
Okay.
but he does call it out as a key factor.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
There are so many ways to approach stress management.
Right.
Things like meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones.
Yeah, it's about finding what helps you unwind and relax.
Exactly.
What are some of your favorite ways to de-stress?
For me, spending time in nature is a huge one.
Yeah.
Even just a short walk in the park can really shift my perspective and help me feel more grounded.
I hear you. I try to incorporate mindfulness techniques into my day, even if it's just taking a few deep breaths before a meeting.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a huge time commitment.
No.
Little moments of self-care can make a big difference.
Right.
Now, before we move on, I wanted to revisit one of the key themes we've been circling around.
Okay.
The importance of gut health in potentially managing psoriasis.
Yeah.
Dr. Axe really emphasizes this idea that healing the gut could be a major piece of the puzzle.
You know, it is fascinating how he connects seemingly simple things like gut health to a complex condition like psoriasis. What stands out to you about his approach to gut health?
Well, he's not just talking about popping a probiotic and calling it a day.
Right.
He takes a much more holistic approach,
focusing
on both probiotics and prebiotics.
Right. He talked about those probiotic-rich foods earlier.
Yeah.
And prebiotics are essentially food for the good bacteria in our gut, right?
Exactly. Fiber is a fantastic example of a prebiotic.
Okay.
That's why he's such a proponent of those high-fiber foods like berries, cruciferous vegetables, and seeds.
So by combining probiotics and prebiotics, we're essentially creating a balanced and thriving ecosystem in our gut.
Exactly. And just like a garden, our gut needs diversity.
Okay.
A variety of fiber from different plant-based foods can help promote a balanced and resilient gut microbiome.
It's like cultivating a healthy inner garden.
I love that analogy.
Okay, we spent a lot of time on the gut, so I want to make sure we touch on Dr. Axe's DIY skin cream before we wrap things up.
Oh yeah, the skin cream.
I have to admit, I'm really intrigued by this one.
Me too. It's a great example of how we can take control of our health and well-being with natural solutions.
Yeah.
His recipe calls for shea butter,
Okay.
which is known for its moisturizing properties and is readily available online. He combines that with coconut oil,
Coconut oil. Yeah.
which also boasts amazing moisturizing benefits.
Okay. That sounds pretty simple so far.
Yeah.
What's the secret ingredient?
Essential oils.
Essential oils.
He's particularly fond of geranium oil for its soothing properties.
Geranium oil.
But he also suggests tea tree oil, chamomile oil, and lavender oil as effective options for psoriasis and other skin conditions.
Those are all great choices.
Yeah.
They're known for their calming and potentially anti-inflammatory properties, which could help soothe those itchy, irritated patches of skin.
Right, and they smell amazing.
Yeah, it's like a spa treatment in your own kitchen.
Exactly.
I love how he encourages people to create their own natural remedies. It's empowering.
It is, and it really speaks to that holistic approach of taking control of your health and seeking out natural solutions.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I think it's important to emphasize that Dr. Axe's recommendations are just one perspective.
Right.
What resonates with you about his approach?
I think what strikes me is the emphasis on addressing the root cause rather than just masking the symptoms.
Yeah.
He's advocating for a lifestyle shift, not a quick fix.
That's a good point. And it's important to remember that everyone is different.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Of course.
So listening to your own body and working with your healthcare provider to create a personalized plan is crucial.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We'll be back after a short break to wrap up our deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts on Dr. Axe's natural approaches to psoriasis. Welcome back to our deep dive into natural approaches for managing psoriasis. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From diet and supplements to DIY skincare and even stress management.
Been a journey.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
So as we wrap things up, what are some key takeaways our listeners should keep in mind?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is the power of that holistic approach.
Right.
Dr. Axe isn't just talking about treating the symptoms of psoriasis. He's advocating for a lifestyle shift that addresses potential underlying causes.
Right. It's about looking at the big picture.
Exactly.
Diet, gut health, lifestyle, and even stress management.
Yeah, all of those factors can play a role
All these factors play a role.
in how our bodies function and how our skin responds.
And I think it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a destination.
Right. It's not a quick fix.
Right. It might be some trial and error involved.
Yeah.
As you figure out what works best for you.
Absolutely.
So it's all about listening to your body,
Mm-hmm.
being patient, and celebrating those small victories along the way.
I like that.
Now, if our listener wants to delve deeper into Dr. Axe's recommendations, where can they find more information?
He's got a ton of resources on his website, drax.com.
Okay.
You can find articles, recipes, and information on where to purchase the supplements he recommends.
Perfect.
Just search for Dr. Axe Psoriasis on Google, and you'll be on your way.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
So as we leave our listener with all of this information, what's one small step they could take today
Oh, that's a good question.
to support their journey with psoriasis?
Maybe it's as simple as swapping out that sugary soda for a glass of water.
Okay.
Adding some blueberries to their
I
breakfast.
love blueberries.
Or trying out that DIY skin cream recipe.
That sounds fun.
It does.
Or perhaps it's taking 5 minutes to practice some deep breathing exercises.
Oh, yeah.
Or going for a walk in nature to de-stress.
That's a good one.
Right? It's all about, those small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
Absolutely.
So those little things can make a big difference.
They can.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, this was great.
We hope you found it informative and empowering.
I did.
And until next time, take care and be well.